Hi everyone, today we are going to learn about SQL from basics to advanced. So, before we going to know about SQL, we must have to know some certain things. That is database concepts like database, DBMS, data model and RDBMS. So, now we are going dive deep into one by one quickly. What is database? So, database is the place where we can store and retrieve our data. For example, if you going for apply for an college or applications or any applications in the online website portal. So after entering all your information, you can click on submit. All your data that can be stored into the database. So whenever we can require, we by using of some condition, we can retrieve the data. That is followed by the admission department. So this is how the database works, and database is like a container where we can store the data. So once you understand about database, now we are going to learn about DBMS, that is database management system. Basically, this database management system is like a software where we can, by using of this software, we can store and retrieve the data from the database. So now next we are going to learn about the data models. And data models. The data model is how exactly the data is stored in the database. And there are four types of data model, that is hierarchical data model, network data model, relational data model, and object-oriented data model. First of all, hierarchical data model. The hierarchical data model is like kind of parent-child relationship. Here the data is like how the data is stored means, for example, first of all we having the clothes, and under this we have men's category and women's category. Under the women's category we have the high, it's like a high having two types, and the women's category is also having the two types. So many things is like a parent child relationship. Mostly these hierarchical data models are not useful for this market and not used in any kind of companies. And the network data model, the network data model is like a same kind of hierarchical data model, but here we can having the, like, what is this, two parents for the single child. So this happens in network data model. So the network model is also not popular and most useful in the market or anything anywhere. So before we going to learn about relational data model, first of all we learn about object oriented data model. So here the data can be stored in the database in the form of objects, that is properties and functions. So these three models are not useful, hence it is not used in the market mostly. So next one is a popular and very useful. Many of the companies are using this model, that is relational data models. Here the data is stored in the form of rows and columns, that is tables. So here the data will be stored in a structured and organized way. So next we are going to learn about what is RDBMS. The RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. Like it is also like a DBMS software, but here the DBMS software using relational data model for relational data model. So it is called as RDBMS. So this software is mainly useful for the, like, storing and the data and retrieving of the data in the form of tables, like there is rows and columns. Next we are going to learn about at last the SQL. So what is SQL? The SQL is a structured query language. It's a programming language. We all must know it's a programming language. By writing of queries, we can retrieving the data from the database. So that is the SQL. So what is the operations performed by the SQLs are store the data, we can retrieve the data, update the data and delete the data and many more by using of these SQL statements.